Now at 5, the Joplin Police Department sees a rise in catalytic converter thefts. Plus, the Regional Better Business Bureau gives tips to avoid scams while searching for a new job. And
former President Donald Trump is calling on his supporters to take action as he faces possible indictment and arrest. I'm Astrid Martinez in Manhattan as police prepare for protests.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Authorities in Allen County, Kansas are investigating after human remains were found over the weekend. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation says the remains were found Saturday evening by a man searching for deer antler sheds east of Humboldt near Arizona Road and 1800th Street. Shortly after they were found, the Allen County Sheriff called in the KBI to help. The person has not yet been identified, nor has the cause of death. An autopsy has been scheduled. In recent weeks, there have been a growing number of reports of catalytic converter thefts from vehicles around Joplin. The converters, which contain precious metals, are being targeted by thieves who sell them on the black market. According to a muffler repair shop owner, the thefts are happening in broad daylight, with thieves using saws or other cutting tools to remove the converters from under vehicles parked on public streets, parking lots, and driveways.
Honestly, about, like I say, over 50% of the time that people come in here needing a catalytic converter, they've been cut off already. They've been stolen. It's not just Joplin. It's an epidemic across the country. It not only affects the owner of the vehicle, it affects the installers and the economy in general, actually.
We're going to hear from a mother whose son had his converter stolen at 6. A couple of Joplin residents recently fell victim to employment scams. According to the Better Business Bureau scam tracker, employment scams rose 23% from 2021 to 2022. They're the number one riskiest for ages 18 to 34, while online purchase scams were number one for ages 35 to 64. But there are some things you can look out for before filling out a job application.
Be on guard for giving your personal information out during an interview. That's another red flag that consumers have told BBB, that during an interview, someone will ask for their bank account information to facilitate the direct deposit, and that is not something that is part of the normal hiring practice.
To read more about employment scams, you can go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, it is windy out there today. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, super windy outside for us today, and it's going to stay windy as we go through the next couple days. Kind of chilly for us today, but we are going to start to warm up. A lot of mid, a lot of upper level clouds across the region. This is what we have been seeing at least over the past several hours. You can see showers popping up through central Oklahoma, and eventually these are going to get into our neck of the woods, especially after midnight for us tonight. But southerly winds keeping our temperatures up. We're sitting into the mid 50s. It's still chilly, but you know, it's not bad. We have these south winds at about 20 to 25, and gusts have been higher than that. Throughout the evening hours, we'll have a lot of clouds. We'll drop back into the 40s. Showers will start to develop later on tonight. We're going to break that down for you here in just a bit.
See you soon. The grand jury investigating former President Trump is expected to hear from more witnesses today. They're scrutinizing business records for alleged hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 presidential election. Over the weekend, Trump claimed he's going to be arrested tomorrow, and he called for protests. Astrid Martinez reports.
Former President Trump's legal team wants a New York grand jury to hear from attorney Robert Costello as it investigates hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels in the lead up to the 2016 presidential election. Costello is expected to challenge the credibility of Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, who testified last week and pleaded guilty in 2018 to making the payments. The Manhattan District Attorney is digging into Trump's role in the payments.
Really, what we're talking about is the falsification of business records, which is typically a misdemeanor, but it's going to be kicked up, we think, to a felony.
Over the weekend, the former president took to social media indicating he will be arrested Tuesday and urged his supporters to, quote, protest, take our nation back. Officials here in New York are gearing up for the possibility of Trump's indictment and preparing for protests. On Monday, NYPD officers began setting up barricades near the downtown courthouse complex. There is concern Trump's words could trigger violence, similar to January 6.
Let me be very clear. No matter what transpires, and this doesn't mean this is going to happen, but if was this to happen, we want calmness out there.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a potential 2024 presidential campaign rival, criticized the Manhattan DA.
He chooses to go back many, many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments. You know, that's an example of pursuing a political agenda.
Trump, who has declared his 2024 candidacy, has denied any wrongdoing. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
Intelligence sources tell CBS News they're seeing a significant increase in threats and violent rhetoric online from domestic violent extremists. Spring break is setting off alarm bells in Florida. Miami Beach declared a state of emergency after an outbreak of violence over the weekend, including 2 deadly shootings. The city clamped down on alcohol sales and restaurant hours and imposed a curfew. Officials are meeting today to consider another one for later this week. It's the 3rd consecutive year of spring break violence in the city. China's President Xi Jinping arrived in Moscow today in an effort to show support for Russia's President Vladimir Putin in the Ukraine war. The visit comes just days after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for Putin for the deportation and abduction of children from Ukraine to Russia. This comes as the U.S. State Department announces another $350 million in weapons and equipment to support Ukraine. Still ahead, taking some time to learn a life-saving skill.
Learning to save a life. I'm Nichelle Medina with a new app that teaches CPR in just a few easy steps.
And next in Health Watch, what a new study shows about parents' knowledge of teen vaping habits. Topping today's Health Watch, nearly half of parents say they would definitely know if their child is vaping. That's according to a national poll from the University of Michigan. That's despite the fact that vaping devices are easy to hide. 80% also think their adolescent or teen understands the health risks, with few believing their child has tried it. CDC data from last year found 14% of high schoolers and 3% of middle schoolers said they had recently vaped. Since Buffalo Bills player Damar Hamlin's life was saved on the field, there's been a big push to get more people trained to use CPR and defibrillators. One California doctor has made it his mission to help people learn how to save lives. Reporter Nichelle Medina has a look at the app he created that can teach the life-saving techniques in just a few simple steps.
In a medical emergency, time is of the essence to begin life-saving measures.
I am matching my pace with the timer.
Inside UC San Diego's Simulation Training Center,
Don't feel pulse.
researchers have been testing the Rescue Me CPR app.
This app could be used by anybody, whether they have experience in cardiopulmonary resuscitation or not.
Dr. Mark Greenberg developed the app along with medical student Brennan Marsh Armstrong. For Dr. Greenberg, it was personal after a loved one witnessed an emergency.
There was a kid on the couch who all of a sudden, when we looked over, was blue and not breathing. I said, well, what would you have liked to have? And they said, I wish we had an app. I said, I'm going to make one.
Through visual, voice, and text prompts, CPR can be done on anyone experiencing an opioid overdose or any type of cardiac arrest.
The more people that know CPR, the more likelihood that someone will be around you that can perform CPR when it's needed.
This person needs CPR.
It gives you a choice, you make the choice, and then you move on to the next. And within 45 seconds, you're already doing chest compressions.
Every year in the U.S., there are 350,000 out-of-hospital cardiac arrests. CPR can double or triple the chances of survival.
When there's an emergency, do people tend to forget what to do?
They do, and one of the main features of this app is that it keeps them on task.
Dr. Greenberg says his goal is to get Rescue Me CPR on as many phones as possible.
Life-saving is important. Every life counts.
Saving lives one download at a time. Nichelle Medina, CBS News, San Diego.
Dr. Greenberg is working on a pediatric and Spanish version of the Rescue Me app. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. A new study of hospital patients and their pets finds multi-drug resistant organisms can be transmitted between cats and dogs and their owners. The findings were presented at the European Congress of Clinical Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. Researchers add only a small number of cases were found, suggesting pets are not a major source of antibiotic-resistant infections in hospital patients. A new study suggests patients with mental illness might have higher levels of oral disease. Researchers from the University of California looked at 6 oral health conditions, including bleeding gums and bone loss around teeth, and found they were significantly more prevalent among patients with severe mental health problems. That's a look at today's health news. A little bit later, a new study shows which cities are the most and the least affordable for renters.
Plus, we have some showers and thunderstorms increasing for the morning. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be a chilly one today. Windy as well. We've had winds gusting 30 upwards of 35 miles per hour. In fact, it's going to stay windy as we go through the next couple days. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. We have a lot of mid, a lot of upper level clouds across the region. This is in advance of our next storm system, which is going to roll in later on tonight. So the clouds are going to continue to thicken throughout the evening. If you are going to be outside over the next few hours, we will stay dry, but you can see this storm system out to the west, and look at this, already showers right down through central parts of Oklahoma. A lot of this leading edge not reaching the ground, but once you get I-35 to Oak City and then stretching back toward Lawton, all these showers are reaching the ground, and we'll start to work into our neck of the woods later on tonight. All right, it's chilly, but it's not bad. We're into the mid 50s to near 60. Once you get out into our western counties, we can go outside, 7th and range line, sitting at 56, southerly winds, sustained 24, humidity is at 32%. Look at the winds, south winds kicking in 20 upwards of 30, again, sustained. Gusts have been higher than that. We've had winds gusting, oh gosh, anywhere from 30 upwards of 40 miles per hour, and it's going to stay windy tonight. Look at these wind gusts through the night into tomorrow afternoon. Still south winds, kind of 30 to about 35. Get even stronger tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. It stays super windy on Wednesday, even into Thursday. But here come our rain chances. Start popping up late tonight. So here's 5 a.m., 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m. You can see they trail off as we get into the afternoon hours. All right, let's step through time. Spotty showers once we get to about midnight, but late tonight, here's 3:30 in the morning, scattered showers, even a random thunder shower popping up. Really increasing by morning. So when you're heading out the door, 7:30 in the morning, you need the rain gear. We have periods of showers. Look at our temps. We're into lower 40s. It's too cold for severe weather. So this is mainly just going to be showers and an embedded little thunder and lightning. Heaviest on the Missouri side, Arkansas side by 10 to 11 a.m. And then most of the afternoon, just mostly cloudy skies, very windy. Once again, temperatures making it back up into the 50s for highs. As we get into tomorrow night, we could see a hit or miss little shower. And then again on Wednesday, very mild. We shoot into the upper 60s to near 70. And it's going to be very windy. We're going to have these hit and miss little showers, and then our next storm system is going to roll in by Thursday. So here's your day planner tomorrow. We get into lower 50s, so it is going to be on the chilly side once again. Rainfall amounts with this next wave, I think most of us a quarter upwards to about a ½ an inch of rain, which, hey, we'll definitely take. And then we have that next storm system, which is going to roll in on Thursday into Friday. So 52 rain tomorrow, but look at this, 74 on Wednesday, 69 on Thursday, thunderstorms. Some of those storms could be strong, possibly severe. Showers lasting into Friday, another system Sunday and Monday. Very active this week.
Well, you know, spring officially arrived today. And so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug. The United Nations has released a report from hundreds of the world's top scientists warning that time is running out if humanity wants to avoid passing a dangerous global warming threshold. It compiles 7 years of research gathered since the Paris Climate Accord was sealed in 2015. Temperatures in recent years have stoked destructive storms and flooding, crop-killing heat waves, and deadly droughts. Coming up, how the FDIC is trying to salvage Signature Bank after it collapsed earlier this month. Topping today's Consumer Watch, following the collapse of Signature Bank, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, announced that it sold a huge chunk of the bank to Flagstar Bank. The subsidiary of New York Community Bank paid $2.7 billion to purchase most of Signature Bank's deposits. The FDIC says all of Signature Bank's 40 former branches will operate with normal business hours starting today under Flagstar Bank. Cost of living has gone up significantly during the pandemic. Reporter Joy Benedict has the results of a study that shows which cities are the least affordable for renters and why.
Jacob Marker and Matt Garrison share a 2-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles that can feel a little cramped at times.
It's not the Taj Mahal.
Marker is a barista making minimum wage, which is $16 an hour in LA, so having his own apartment just isn't an option.
It's definitely rough knowing that the way I make my money will never be enough.
As a video game designer, Garrison fares a little better financially, but has had at least one roommate for the last 7 years.
The amount I pay barely would cover the apartment if I were to be here alone.
But these renters are doing better than most. A recent study from Zillow says it would typically take almost 3 people working full-time minimum wage jobs to afford a 2-bedroom in LA, and it's much worse in cities where the minimum wage is lower.
In Austin, it would take a little over 5 full-time minimum wage workers to afford a 2-bedroom rental.
Jeff Tucker is an economist for Zillow.
Austin and then Atlanta are the 2 most unaffordable. And that's because these are 2 cities that are pretty expensive, growing, in-demand cities that still have that federal minimum wage of just $7.25 an hour.
Fresno, California fares the best, requiring only 1.6 full-time jobs to afford a 2-bedroom.
I think what this goes to show is that local policy measures can make a really big difference in raising people's incomes to help deal with that high cost of living.
Marker isn't going to leave LA, but he hopes new opportunities will come along so he can finally get his own space. Joy Benedict, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Apartments in the U.S. are shrinking. According to a report from rentcafe.com, the average size of a new apartment in 2022 was less than 900 square feet. That's about 50 square feet smaller than the average apartment a decade ago. The drop in size is attributed to new construction with more studios and 1-bedroom units. Online retail giant Amazon is laying off more employees. In a memo to staff, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy said 9,000 jobs are going to be cut. That's on top of the 18,000 already cut earlier this year. Jassy said the fresh round of job cuts will take place in the coming weeks. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a look at the emotional and financial toll in vitro fertilization can take on families. Then on KOAM News at 6, a Joplin man is arrested for manslaughter in the deaths of an adult and 2 children. Plus, we're going to hear from the Joplin Police Department about that rise in catalytic converter thefts. And Carl Junction kicks off its baseball season with a game against league rival Neosho. Stay with us, CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Windy and rain chances in a lot of ways. It is feeling like spring.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's going to stay windy throughout the overnight hours tonight. Showers are going to start to pop up after midnight, and then rain throughout the morning hours. It's going to be chilly tomorrow, still windy, a high of only 52. We bounce into the 70s on Wednesday. Thunderstorm chances moving in on Thursday.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.